When you hear of VRChat, what do you think of? The creative worlds? The avatars? Maybe the mini communities that have spawned into VRChat? Yeah, that's a no. I bet that is the last thing you thought of. I'm going to most likely guess what you thought when you hear VRChat. Annoying kids, trolls, femboys and e-girls throwing it back, sensitive people, degenerates, the devs being stupid, cringe, and of course, pedos. Are you, like, come on, it's something you probably heard of the most. I'm going to say something that I think a lot of people in VRChat would agree with me, and I'm willing to double down on it. VRChat is one of, if not the most creative game online. A game where the sky is the limit and where truly anything can happen. I have seen the most creative worlds, avatars, and people that should not be playing VRChat and should probably get a really good paying job instead of playing this game. And the big one for me is the memories you can make when playing this game. And of course, the people you meet along the way. Truly, I will never forget majority of the moments I've had in this game. Yes, I know of Gmod, who hasn't? My argument here is that in Gmod, you have to technically mod your game to do VR stuff, which isn't hard at all. I've seen my buddies do it a bunch. On the other hand, in VRChat, well, it's in the name. You don't need to mod your game to do VR. And you can just do desktop automatically if you don't have a VR system, which is great. A big bonus for VRChat, it uses God's easiest game engine known to man, Unity. An engine so easy to use, even toddlers, except for me, can use it. Gmod, on the other hand, uses the Source engine. Now, I'm not going to say I know a lot about Source, because I really don't. But I know you have to do a couple of things to not only get your stuff in Source, but also get it into the mod workshop. Now, I'm not going to say I know how it all works, because I don't. So if anyone uses Source engine, if you want to in the comments down below, tell me if it's easier than Unity, and you can also call me a dumb, stupid fucking moron for even saying that out of my mouth. It could be way easier than Unity. So hey, I'm willing to hear that out. And yet people outside of the VRChat community see it as a complete degen game, where every single type of bad person plays the game. There's so much I could name, like the stereotypes that ruin this game, but we'd be here all day, and I'm not joking, we'd be here for a long time. It really annoys me to the ever-loving shit that this is the perception of the game, but I can't sit here and say it doesn't deserve it for, you know, any reason. It's gotten it for a reason. This video is basically me complaining about all the shit about VRChat that gives people a terrible idea on what this game is really about, and also critiquing some people along the way. Don't mistake this for the documentary I'm making. For some of the topics in the video, I'll only talk about them very, very lightly, since to me they don't really fit this kind of video and deserve to be part of the big documentary I'm making. Then some I'll just fully dive into, since I just think they're better here. I mean, I could eventually talk about them in their own separate little video, but I just really want to put them here to set a precedent, I guess. A big factor as to why I'm making this video is because I haven't seen a video giving VRChat a fair shot at being, you know, a great game. Been a lot of shitting on it, which I get it. I get why, which I'll dive into. But I feel like somebody has to give the game a shot and critique it at the same time fairly, because I really don't see that at all for this game. Anyone that I talk about in this video, I have no hate for at all. I'm gonna obviously critique, do some joking, maybe a little jabbing here and there, but at the end of it, I don't have any hate for them. I'm sure if I found them in a public lobby, I could go up to them, talk to them, have fun with them, play some games, and we'd be friends by the end of the day. However, that doesn't mean I won't give them shit for the content and the other shit they have done, since I do think it's, you know, bad. And also, I think everybody that is on this platform and on VRChat deserves some criticism. So I'm willing to, you know, do that. Please, for the love of God, do not harass anybody or attack anybody in this video. If you do and I find out, get out of my community. I don't want you. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get to the first topic. To be specific, not the ones where they say the fuck word. I don't care if you swear. I'm talking ones that barely have anything on when streaming or making videos. They just kind of throw their ass back and dance, make lewd jokes only, clickbait thumbnails and titles, and have less personality than a goddamn rock. To be even more specific, I'm talking about ADC and Glubbable, but I'll just be calling them Glub for the rest of the video. Here's a little fact. During when I was editing this video, I actually found out that Glub made a lot of the Slender Fortress maps that we know in TF2 and actually hosted a Slender Fortress server for herself. or I guess her community. As a longtime TF2 player and somebody who actually liked playing Slender Fortress, I'd like to thank you. And also, all criticism from now on is now invalid. A video made by Osai that was critiquing them had a lot of really good points that I personally agree with. There was just one thing in the video which I scratched my head at and I think is really stupid, but I'll get to that later. To make this clear, I'm not talking about just ADC and Glub. I'm talking about majority of the 18 plus streamers and lewd streamers that are in VRChat. I feel like when people do this kind of stuff, it gives the game a really bad precedent and a bad signal on what the game is really about. Now look, there's nothing wrong with getting your money up. I can't judge you at all. People need to put food on the table and pay rent. I get it. I can't judge anyone for that. Hell, I'd applaud you for even finding a way to make money off of content like this. However, and I literally can't stress this enough, it's slop. It's gooner slop. It's the bottom of the barrel kind of content that is plaguing the game. But I think the biggest crime for both of them and for other lewd streamers is that they have the most boring personalities I have ever seen in my life. I know it's rude to say this. However, I literally can't overlook it when it's in their content and their streams. If you somehow don't know, VRChat is a social game. Yes, there are game modes where you can streak out, get massive wins, but at the core of the game, it's a social game. The main point is to talk and meet people and put yourself out there with your personality, since really that's all that people are gonna get when you play that game. ADC and Glub don't have a personality other than being lewd, and they are forgetful in the seat of other lewd content creators that are just lewd only. To me, however, that should not be. I have seen clips of them with other streamers where they're funny. Under all the layers of lewd, they can be funny, but they choose to put themselves in this type of thing. I don't really understand why. Another thing about them is that almost all of their content, if not every single part of their content on YouTube, is either heavily clickbaited titles and thumbnails with porn, lewd stories showing off their abbies lewdly, and sex jokes. It's like Visbipop got a hold of their DNA and just made them a has-been hotel character or a Hell of a Boss character. They have no personality and they rely on this only. The reliance on lewd stuff only will only get what you want for so long. Money. Sex sells. Or I guess lewd sells or something. However, after a certain point, that's all that most people will see you as. Not their communities, they really don't care. I'm talking about people outside of the community, and it sets a bad reputation. It's only a piece of the problem that sets VRChat's perception in a bad light. I know somebody in the comments is going to say something on the lines of, just watch them on Twitch. They can be a funny person outside of the lewd sections they clip on YouTube. Here's my counter to this. Why would I do that when everything I've gone to know about them is them being lewd? It's boring. I'm going to talk from my perspective here. Look, watching Twitch streams can be really boring and just a task at times. There's just so much dead air in between each bit that it just kind of makes it hard to watch. Now, you can blame my attention span. You got me there. I literally can't argue against that. Too many TF2 SFMs have destroyed that part of my brain. However, YouTube is a great way to expand your viewer base and your community. Twitch is considered one of the hardest places to grow your audience and expand it. It's a known fact. They can't for the life of them get me to actually laugh at their content and get me genuinely interested in their content, since almost all of it is just lewd stuff. It's boring.
Let me guess. No. You want to start jerking?
Dude, I don't want them to think of that, but I have to. It's called respectfully. May I see a bit of cake? Okay.
You don't question these, but you question these. I see. You know what your punishment is? Public execution.
Look, there's nothing wrong with being lewd. I'm not gonna pearl clutch over being lewd. That's stupid. It's VRChat. It happens all the time, and I've seen it from my good friends. I don't care enough. But when it's used over and over and over and over again, it's just boring. They don't know how to innovate their content, and it's annoying because they're just big content creators that have an audience. They could do so much cool stuff, and they just do the same thing over and over again. I think the one that's more guilty of this is Glub. Almost all of their content is lewd, heavily clickbaited titles and thumbnails. I haven't seen one video where they don't have their massive fucking titties that are the size of the mountains in the camera frame. They just put them out there. I'm not trying to watch them. Please, for the love of God, I'm trying to watch something funny from you. Their content is boring and it's just very uninteresting. It's bad. I will defend them on one point that Osai said.
It's very obvious that they are targeting the average gooner, but the fact that they're posting this on YouTube makes me suspect that they're trying to use children for their views/revenue. YouTube is a platform full of kids, everybody knows that. I can't go one video without getting a comment that makes me question whether or not I want kids of my own, and I'm confident that every other YouTuber can recount a similar experience. I'm sure that Global knows this, so why are they posting these videos? That's simple. They're trying to advertise their Patreon, Twitter, and Twitch with their YouTube channel. There is no way that their YouTube channel is monetized, and even if it is, they most likely aren't making that much money off of these short 20-second videos. I believe that the main goal with these types of channels is to bait gooners and kids that are vulnerable to this type of content and direct them to paid websites where they can get the exclusive content.
Short answer, yes, but no. Also, it's a stretch, but he isn't wrong. Long answer, I mean, yeah, but I also think it's a bit of a stretch for him to even say this. I'm not blind to the fact that they do this stuff on YouTube, and I think it's pretty wrong because, you know, kids see shit all the time that they shouldn't be seeing. But I also think that, you know, it's a bit of a stretch for him to say that they purposely make these videos for kids and they get ad revenue for kids. I just think it's a bit of a stretch, and it kind of implies them to do something, you know, a bit more malice when doing that kind of stuff. The only way I can really agree with that is, you know, if there's receipts or evidence or something. It's a little bit irresponsible for him to say, but I get why he's saying it. I'm not blind to the fact, you know, of him saying it. Like, I'm not gonna say he's wrong at all, because I think he's right, but I think it's a bit of a stretch. Look, kids are fucking stupid and they don't know what they're doing. Sadly, kids will find their way to stuff that isn't made for them. It doesn't matter how many restrictions we put on, kids will find their way, and it's really annoying and sad to see that happen. But it's a consequence of mommy drinking for having them and daddy currently on vacation with their female coworker since mommy doesn't give him the same attention like she used to back in the fucking 80s. Kids are dumb and they find their way to stuff that isn't made for them, like VRChat. A video I recommend you guys all watch is Numi's video that's called This Needs to Stop. It talks about clickbait and thumbnails and titles that are kind of like how ADCs and Glub's videos are, and how they give off a negative light to how they are. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not the same thing. VRChat and VTubing, I mean, they are technically intertwined, but it isn't the same thing. But if you listen to the points, you kind of can put two and two together. It makes sense. I'm 100% agree and stand with Numi's video, and I hope everything works out for her and her community. Just don't treat 18 plus streamers or people I've talked about in this category like bots. I don't think it's right to mass report somebody you don't like, so please do not do that. To close this part off, I have no hate for ADC, Glub, Osai, or any other lewd content creator on the platform. But you guys limit yourselves, and it's really disappointing. I know a majority of you, if not all of you, can be really funny and creative. You guys just need to lock the fuck in. Trolling in video games is an art form. Nothing to me will ever be as great as doing a bit of trolling.
Fucking riot shield. What else you want me to talk about? Riot shield. I'm a pussy that use riot shield.
It's a way of life, and something that will get everyone to usually laugh. God, I sound like a fucking Redditor. For VRChat trolls though, it's not really there anymore. Here's how I've always seen trolling. It's about messing with one person and or their buddies. That's the point. It's to mess with a certain somebody or their buds. Other game communities will usually know that it's an instance of trolling, and it doesn't mean it's the whole community. Some people in VRChat get way too immersed into this game, which I think it's really bad. Some people just live in the game. Personally, I haven't ran into anyone that has done that, but I've heard many stories about it. Those people are usually the ones that get trolled all the time. And it gives off this image that the community is just literally a bunch of losers that are way too deep into the VRChat life.
Can I get a job here?
Dude, fuck off!
Listen, me and the boys we do a bit of trolling as well. It's something that is fun to do, especially on people that are like this, since it's just so easy to get a reaction out of people that take this game way too serious. Hey guys, listen, and listen good. I know you love the game a lot. Maybe a little too much. A little too much. And that's fine. I love this game as well. This game is great. But if somebody is annoying you or baiting you for a reaction, use the fucking block button, a feature that has been in the game since 2017. If people call you a bitch for it, who cares? block them too for all I care. Unless they're your buds. That's just a bit of tough love, you know? There's nothing wrong with blocking anyone. Trust me, I've done that with my buds before. We don't get along with everybody, and that's fine. But please, for the love of God, if you don't want to end up in these kind of videos, just fucking don't play into their shit, or play into their shit that is funny for you and them. Because I promise you, it's not going to be fun for you or for anyone else that knows you. It's going to be a laugh factory and you're the main product. Bit of a side note here, I've always wondered what happened to some of these people that have been in some of these videos. You gotta believe me when I say this, it's gonna be way different than other games. Remember, VRChat is a social game, so talking and knowing who you are for personality is what's gonna be known first. So, to the people who have been trolled that are possibly watching this video, what's happened to you? Have you been pointed and laughed at? Has nothing happened? I've just kind of always wondered, you know, what's happened after. Trolling is an art form in gaming and it will forever be. Sadly, it puts VRChat in a very negative light, and it's for good reasons. Dumbasses that give easy reactions. I would talk more about the trolls themselves, but one, I really don't care at all. We all do a bit of trolling, at least I do, so I don't care enough. And two, they fight each other all the time. Like, I've seen videos where they've rooted out the really bad ones, so, you know, I don't really care. Maybe one day I'll talk about them again with maybe some trolls, maybe not, I don't know. But other than that, I'll let them fight their own fight. This one's gonna be quick. Being cringe for playing VRChat, look, it's a default. Let's all be honest. Like, come on, players of VRChat, put your hands up. It's cringe, and that's fine. You know, that's fine by me. Now, you'll never catch me telling anyone that I play VRChat ever, and that's fine, since if you heard anything outside of the community, you know it's not the greatest, and you'll probably cringe too. The only person that knows that I play VRChat is my mom. Look, she's chill like that, thank God. But, you know, she also thinks it's a bit cringe as well, and you know what, that's fine by me. Thanks, Mom. Degens and VRC are to be expected, sadly. It's kind of a normalcy in the game. I don't really like it, you know, people being just degenerates out in public. You know, it's whatever. If you do it in a private lobby, I don't care. But if you do it in public, you're kind of an issue. Other than blocking them, I'm not really too sure what we can do, if anything, about them. It's a part of the game, it's a part of the life, and it will probably continue forever. I hate children, and they should be eradicated off the face of the fucking planet. Or I guess VRChat. Ever since the Quest was released to the public, kids have been getting their first VR, and it's been an epidemic. Thousands of fucking annoying kids have been infesting VRChat for many years, and it seems like it won't end, and I hate that. I fucking despise that, actually. This is probably the second most thing you've heard about the game. That kids love playing this game that is mainly used by adults, and they are way more fucking annoying on this game than in real life. Go to a black cat and see how many kids are just yelling racist shit. Look, you're gonna have to blame me for this, but I actually went to see if it was actually possible, and I shit you not, it happened within my first lobby, within the first couple minutes. Now you would be hearing the audio, but one, I don't think I can post it on YouTube, and two, I forgot to record the audio, but you're just gonna have to believe me, that guy upstairs in the Cartman avatar was saying something that you would say. It's like, it's like, come on, man, come on. Yes, for like the first time you hear it, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because mommy and daddy haven't come in there and beat their ass. But when you go to your 10th black cat lobby and it's just kids being annoying, well, then you just kind of want to fucking stop going to pubs, because if you know kids are going to be there, why the fuck would you go there? I am a part of the mass that thinks kids should not be playing this game at all, and that this game should be rated 18+. As somebody who's been playing VRChat since they were a minor back in 2018, I have seen a fair share of fucked up shit in VRChat, and to be fair, I think I got a bit lucky. I didn't end up in any bad place because of it, but it definitely grabbed a hold of its fucking claws in my blood vessels. It made me do a lot of stupid shit and made a lot of bad decisions back then, since I was hanging around mostly adults, and I thought I was pretty mature and cool back then. I, in fact, was not cool and mature back then. Kids will be kids, and it's in their nature to be really fucking annoying, since, you know, that's what kids do. But please, for any kids that are watching this video, get the fuck off the game. Get off VRChat. This game is fucking bad. Play something else. It's not a good place for you. A lot of bad things will happen to you if some fucking creep finds you on the game. Thankfully, in recent times, there's a way to verify yourself to 18 plus to keep them away from you. However, that is, as of right now, locked behind a paywall, which, well, it leads me to my next segment. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this one is more of a pet peeve of mine. However, in the long run, it truly affects VRChat as a whole. It's the devs. I'll keep this short since both this section and the next section are technically put together in the next video that I'm going to do, since technically they're both a part of the same topic. The devs to me are a bunch of idiots. Not every single one, mind you, like, keep that in mind, but they continue to make terrible decisions and mistakes. But look, I'm gonna make this really quick if I can. It's a bit of a long history lesson, but I'll make this kind of quick, hopefully. Back when Easy Anti-Cheat, or EAC, was introduced to VRChat, mods were eliminated off the face of the earth, and it was a terrible, terrible idea. Mods back then gave you massive quality of life stuff that VRChat didn't do for so long, even if the community as a whole was begging for those things to be in the game. So when mods were taken out of the back and shot in the back of the head, everyone immediately downvoted the game into oblivion. It was only then when the devs finally opened up their eyes and said, wow, we should make quality of life stuff. And they started making quality of life updates for the game. It was, keep in mind, it was only when the game was basically shot down is when the devs started to push out these updates. I will die on this fucking hill and nobody's gonna convince me otherwise. The only reason that they started pushing out quality of life stuff is because they started to lose their viewer base and their player base. In recent times, they have pushed out 18 plus after many years of bitching and crying, which is good, but to get it originally, you had to be part of a testing phase, which, you know what? That's fair. You gotta test stuff if you want to make it public. But now, we have to buy VRChat Plus to get verified now. Why? I get it. This stuff probably takes a lot of money to do these kind of things. However, you're gonna tell me you don't got the money from your investors? To me, it's just kind of greedy. Putting some features that people want behind subscriptions, including stuff that we had for free thanks to mods. Thankfully, I have a really cool friend of mine, shout out to you, Robot, for getting me VRC Plus, so that I no longer have to deal with these dumbass children anymore. It's annoying that this is how they have to make their money. I just find it a bit scummy. I'm hoping one day they get their heads out of their ass and put VRC on the right path. I got a lot more to say about them, but that'll have to wait for the future video that intertwines with this last topic. I legit can't even begin to talk about all the problems that these freaks have brought to VRChat. Without a doubt, this is the #1 thing you've heard about the game. It's all the fucking pedo shit that just sadly happens in this game. This one thing has dragged VRChat through the mud and gives it a just terrible look, and it seems like that only freaks play this game because freaks made it. It's definitely not like that. It is a very small minority of freaks that use this game. Majority of players would fucking stomp them out if they could. Thankfully, there are people that go after these predators in the game, thank God. However, I do think 2 of them have done some, let's just say, some questionable things on the way to help the community. That isn't to say they haven't done any good at all. Hell, I'd say they've done plenty of good for the game in the long run, and for the community as well. I'm of course talking about Brandon FM and Verum. I think the one with the more negativity is Brandon. I will make a video going into depth about them, what they've done for the community, both bad and good. Same goes for the devs. This is the video where I'll be talking about them more, since in one of their bigger videos, Brandon and Verum have talked about them heavily. To keep it as short as possible for my future self and for the future video, Brandon and Verum have done a lot of good, but let's just say some negatives too along the way. And for me, it's really hard for me not to just overlook it and for me not to say something. No one has really done a video on them that was really good, or no one's really talked about them. The only other one I can think of is from a guy that was in a Brandon video that was a complete freak. but here's the problem with the caveat, and this is one of the points that I'll make and talk about in the future video. Brandon, if you didn't know from one of Toastify's videos, is that he worked with a predator at one point for 2 videos. His name is Akumi VHS, but he went by a different name. His name originally was Elucid. He had a different account, and he used to be a semi-popular, I believe, commentator in the commentary community. I could be wrong. I haven't watched the video in a bit. This is not a joke or me making up anything. I will link a video to Toastify's video about this topic in the description below, which in the future video I will talk about this further. But for somebody who exposes predators and other dangers in VRChat, he didn't see if this guy was legit or had anything on him, which to me is crazy. Regardless, I will have to say this for the future me in the future video. VRChat is in a rough spot due to a lot of problems, let's say, and it's truly a shame for a game with so much creativity being dragged down by things that could be dealt with, but are sadly not dealt with in a proper way. If there's anything to take away from this video, it's to have a better perception of VRChat and to give it a try if you haven't played this amazing game before. It's truly an unforgettable game with so much to give if you give it a chance. It's made me memories that I'll have for the rest of my life and have made amazing friends because of it. And you could have that same experience too if you give it a chance. Thank you so much for watching. I'm not sure what I'll do next. It might be the Brandon FM and Verum video, or something on the likes of the Tears of Nora video. We'll just have to see till then. Anyways, have a great day.